Hello, all you wonderful people. Today I wanted to do a brief video talking about affirmations and using affirmations and what works, what doesn't work, how do you know if it works, how do you shift things, all that. So what I'm going to share with you is based on my experience of working with clients and to change their level of consciousness. And what I mean by this is I'm gonna refer a bit to this document right here. In fact, I'll show it to you. It's called The Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins. And what the map of consciousness is just it's quantifying levels of consciousness. Okay, and it's from a book called Power versus Force. I won't spend a ton of time doing it. Talking about it, but on the bottom of the map, you're in force. On the top, you're in power. On the bottom, you push on things, they push back. There's no flow. On the top, there is flow. On the bottom, you require a lot of outside energy because your identity and values depend on your own personal performance, on how people treat you, how institutions honor you. Whereas where you're in power, what you'll find is that you understand intrinsically what you're worth. So you can completely go for it, be wholehearted. You will feel it will hurt, but you're never disconnected from being loved. And so part of it is it's an understanding of the different ways people go through life. And if you're watching this and wanting to know about affirmations, it's probably because you want to get stuff done in your life, right? You want to move forward. And so what we're going to talk today a bit about is using this map of consciousness and how I found what type of affirmations actually work for people. You see, with my clients I work with, we measure them on this map of consciousness to see what their level of consciousness is in regards to creating what they want, or in regards to their marriage, their business, finances, all that. And there's a lot of techniques you can use to shift someone up the map of consciousness. You track down specific judgments or beliefs or inherited energetic stuff or their own blown fuses. It's all very interesting. But that technique I just described, you having to have someone do it for you, and it is effective. It does work. It's very quick. But I always like to also try and empower people to shift things on their own. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about is typically I find if you look on level 150, and I'll go back real quickly to this document here. If you look at level 150, at least you're probably at the level of hate and anger. You're like, okay, you're ticked, you're pissed off. You're like, I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to fix it. So we're assuming you're at that level, right? What I'm going to do is show you how to make affirmations and connect you to the levels above that, 175, 200, 250. At 250, you're shifting over into power and out of force, 310, 350, 400. So here's basically how it goes. When I look at 175 and I look at the emotion that we're dealing there with, the emotion at 175 is the emotion of scorn, okay? And the process is inflation. So scorn just means that, what I'm experiencing right now in life right now isn't worthy of who I am or what I deserve. So you say something like that. You would make a confession or an affirmation over your life. What I am currently experiencing right now in my life, weight, business, relationships, whatever, isn't worthy of what I deserve. Then you look at that next word, inflation, which is the process of that level. And you say, my life can, will, and is getting better. If you scoot it up and you look at level 200 here, all right, so 200 is the tipping point between force and power, and 200 is the level of courage. So at courage, we are dealing with the emotion and process of courage. So at courage, I would say, I feel courage, and I love acting on it. So above courage is the level of neutrality, which has to do with trust and release, okay? So now that we're going to take action and we're kind of zeroing in on where we want to go, what do we have to deal with before we can start taking effective action? Well, one thing is trust. So you say, you know what? I trust myself to take action. I trust God. I trust the process. And I trust the future, right? So as long as we're trusting the future, what do we have to do as well? The process is letting go, release. And I let go of the old way of doing and being. So you notch it up a little bit more. It's like willingness. It has to do with the emotion of optimism and the process of intention. So optimism is, you know what? I have earnest expectation of good things to come in my life. I know who I am, where I'm going, and how I'm going to get there. Intention has to do with, intention is still the level of hope. So you're not keeping things in present tense, but you know what you know what you want to do, right? You have clarity on what you want to build. Okay. So it would be like, I know who I am, where I'm going, and how I'm going to get there. So up from willingness, which has optimism and intention, next you go acceptance. And acceptance, the emotion of acceptance is forgiveness. And before you can really create what you want, you know what you have to do? You have to say, you know what? I forgive everyone and everything, especially myself. And the process is called transcendence. Transcendence is what I would describe as you're in a jet airliner and you're flying 30,000 feet and you look down at some crazy afternoon thunderstorm in Southeast Florida and you're like, whoa, check that out. You see it, but you're rising above it, right? So transcending is you still have family drama, you still have stuff going on, but you know what? I'm not participating in it anymore. I'm operating at a different level. So again, it's forgiveness, but transcendence just says, you know what? I choose to operate at a different level. And the next level after that is understanding and abstraction. It's a level of reason. So the motion of understanding is just confessing or affirming that I can feel that I know what to do and how to do it. And abstraction is a very important thing. Abstraction is the process of reason at a high level. Reason is where things come together in a unique and effective way, not just a very simple step-by-step, line-upon-line process, but it's a process where, wow, someone goes, that was outside the box. That's a brilliant solution. So in other words, it's not in this little box here that I'm freaked out, stressed out, and I just look at everything here. Abstraction is where you can go, you know, I trust the process and I trust everything's going to work out. And now I've got no box. I can look everywhere. And in fact, I can look at this thing that was in my peripheral vision. I go, that's the solution I want, right? So an affirmation concerning abstraction is like, you just say, you know what? I'm going to allow God to work everything out in a unique and brilliant manner. And level 500 is the level of love. I typically find that this is the sweet spot where creation actually happens. This is present tense. You know, the Bible says that faith works by love. So love is like you accept the reality that it's already done and you feel it, and it's the emotion is reverence, the process is revelation. So you feel and you're so grateful for the accomplished fact. So in other words, you're using your imagination to see what you want to create is already done. Okay. And you see the beautiful process that you use to get there. So the level of 500 of love is living in the accomplished reality that what you really want to create, you put yourself there and you feel it, see it. It's a done thing, and you feel so grateful, and that everything worked out so well, and you just spend time living there, feeling it, breathing it, confessing it. So I hope that's helpful. What I find for people is that if you get rid of a lot of baggage, you don't wake up every morning with a high level of consciousness, right? People who are very successful, they get very good at creating certain very specific emotional states, okay? And so what you find is you want to create a state every morning. So you use affirmations to work your way up from level 175 up to a higher level of consciousness where you're going to be a lot more effective in life instead of just being efficient. And you're going to start creating what you really want to create. So hope that's helpful. If you guys have any questions on that, let me know. If you want to copy the map of consciousness, if there isn't one in the comments on this, just Google it, map of consciousness. Oh, excuse me. I forget to breathe, and then I got to yawn. So